In a world where information reigns supreme and the human mind is both the battleground and the prize, the topic of mind control has never been more captivating or disconcerting. From covert government experiments to the subtle art of persuasion that underpins the media we consume, mind control reaches into the deepest recesses of the human psyche. It is a concept that blurs the line between science and science fiction, tapping into our most profound fears and desires. Today we'll embark on a journey through the labyrinthine landscape of mind control. Mind control refers to the covert or overt manipulation, influence, or coercion of an individual's thoughts, emotions, beliefs, or behaviors by external forces or entities. It involves various techniques, including the psychological, social, and in some cases technological methods, aimed at altering, directing, or suppressing an individual's cognitive processes or decision-making abilities. The topic of mind control is not a recent preoccupation because it is deeply rooted in the history of human psychology, culture, and societal interactions. The human desire to influence, manipulate, or understand the workings of the mind dates back centuries and has evolved in response to changing societal and technological contexts. In ancient Egypt, the temples dedicated to the god Imhotep played a pivotal role in the development of practices akin to hypnosis. Imhotep, revered as a healer and the patron of medicine, attracted individuals seeking physical and psychological healing. These temples often employed rituals involving music, prayer, and specific instructions to induce dream states and altered consciousness. Believers would sleep within the temple precincts, expecting to receive divine guidance or healing in their dreams. In ancient Greece, the practice of dream incubation for therapeutic and spiritual purposes was prominent in the temple of Asclepios, the god of healing. Pilgrims who sought healing would spend the night in the temple, and temple priests or attendants would induce a trance-like state through rituals and music. The seeker's dreams were interpreted, and the guidance or instructions received were believed to hold the key to their healing. Ancient Greece and Rome are also known for their exploration of persuasion and rhetoric. Philosophers such as Aristotle and Cicero developed principles and techniques for persuasive speech and argumentation. Aristotle identified three primary modes of persuasion: ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos pertains to the credibility and character of the speaker, pathos deals with emotional appeal, and logos involves logical reasoning. He emphasized the need to balance these modes effectively to persuade an audience. Cicero emphasized the importance of invention and arrangement in crafting persuasive discourse. He believed that effective persuasion required careful planning and structuring of the message. Cicero introduced the concept of the three styles of discourse. These are the grand style, used in oratory, the middle style, used in legal cases and debates, and the plain style, used in everyday conversation. Cicero emphasized adapting one's discourse to the context and the audience. Beyond the temples of Imhotep and Asclepios, indigenous cultures around the world practiced forms of shamanism. Shamans, or medicine men, were believed to have the ability to communicate with spirits, interpret dreams, and perform healing rituals. These practices often involved the use of trance-inducing substances, drumming, dancing, and chanting to facilitate an altered state in which the shaman could access other realms of existence. The experiences of shamans in these altered states often paralleled the features of modern hypnosis, including heightened suggestibility and a sense of detachment from the physical world. The shaman's capacity to influence the thoughts and behaviors of a community was a form of mind control in itself. In these ancient cultures, the common thread was the recognition of altered states of consciousness and their potential to influence human thought and behavior. While the terminology and understanding of these practices differ from today, they reflect early human attempts to connect the spiritual and psychological dimensions of mind control. Religion in the Middle Ages, particularly within the context of the dominance of the Roman Catholic Church in Europe, played a significant role in shaping the beliefs and behaviors of individuals. The church held immense power, influencing all aspects of medieval society from governance and education to art and culture. It played a central role in controlling knowledge, values, and morality. While the primary goal was the salvation of souls, these methods inadvertently contributed to a form of mind control within the religious context of the era. The medieval church employed a system of sacraments and rituals, such as baptism and the Eucharist, to instill and reinforce religious beliefs. Participation in these rites was considered essential for salvation and created a sense of community and identity. Parish priests, as well as itinerant preachers, played a crucial role in shaping the minds of the people. Sermons delivered from the pulpit had the potential to sway the thoughts and emotions of the congregation, and persuasive language was used to control and guide the behavior of the faithful. Medieval art and iconography served as visual reinforcement of religious narratives. Paintings, sculptures, and even stained glass windows conveyed religious messages and influenced the thoughts and the emotions of viewers. Several Christian inquisitions were established by various European monarchies and papal authorities to seek out and punish heretics and enforce religious orthodoxy. The fear of being accused of heresy led many individuals to conform to church teachings and authority to avoid persecution. The 20th century witnessed profound developments in the field of mind control, driven by a combination of scientific curiosity, Cold War politics, and the advancements of technology. These developments span various sectors, from government agencies and psychological research to advertising and cults, with a wide range of ethical and controversial implications. Behaviorism is a school of psychology that emerged during this time, focusing on the study of observable behavior as the primary determinant of human psychology. Behaviorists believed that psychology should be an objective science, and they often rejected the study of mental processes, such as thoughts, emotions, and consciousness, because they were not directly observable. Instead, they advocated the study of behavior as a means to understand and predict human responses to stimuli. Ivan Pavlov is known for his work on classical conditioning, where he demonstrated that a neutral stimulus paired with an unconditioned stimulus could lead to a conditioned response. This discovery showed that behaviors could be learned through associations. B.F. Skinner expanded behaviorism's principles, particularly through operant conditioning, which introduced the concept of reinforcement and punishment to modify behavior. Skinner's experiments with rats and pigeons in controlled environments exemplified how behavior could be shaped through consequences. B.F. Skinner's brand of behaviorism, often referred to as radical behaviorism, represented a significant departure from traditional behaviorist views by recognizing and delving into the intricacies of private events such as thoughts and feelings, which were previously regarded as impenetrable to scientific investigation. By acknowledging that these internal cognitive processes were also behaviors, Skinner asserted that they were governed by the same principles as overt actions, thus making them accessible to systematic analysis and experimentation. Brainwashing is a term that has long intrigued and mystified the human imagination. Often associated with espionage, cults, and psychological manipulation, it evokes images of individuals subjected to clandestine experiments that erase their identities and reshape their beliefs. The actual term itself, brainwashing, is derived from the Chinese phrase "xinhao," meaning to wash the brain. Xinhao emerged in the context of the Chinese Communist Party's activities, particularly during the Mao Zedong era. It was coined to describe the methods used to change an individual's beliefs and ideologies to align with the party's goals and principles. The English derivation of the word was first used by Edward Hunter, an American journalist and intelligence agent who would later be noted for his anti-communist writings. In part thanks to Hunter, the Korean War played a pivotal role in propelling brainwashing into the public consciousness. The experiences of American prisoners of war held by the Chinese and North Korean forces became the focus of international attention. Reports of these soldiers making pro-communist statements, confessing to crimes they hadn't committed, and participating in anti-American activities perplexed the world. The concept of brainwashing found further fertile ground during the Cold War, a period of ideological rivalry and global political maneuvering between the United States and the Soviet Union. As both superpowers sought to gain the upper hand in a battle for hearts and minds, the idea of psychological manipulation became a central concern. The prospect of mind control, often couched in the language of propaganda and re-education, was a major weapon in this ideological struggle. The rise of brainwashing would be further pursued in the world of popular fiction. Richard Condon's 1959 novel, The Manchurian Candidate, presented a thrilling tale of an American soldier who had been brainwashed into becoming an unwitting assassin. The subsequent 1962 film adaptation cemented the concept in the popular psyche. These works combined elements of psychological manipulation, espionage, and political intrigue, elevating brainwashing from a wartime concern to a captivating and ominous theme in literature and cinema. The United States had its own foray into the secretive and ethically contentious world of mind control. Starting in the mid-1940s, the US government, particularly its intelligence agencies, embarked on a series of covert experiments that delved into the manipulation and control of the human mind. These programs sought to unlock the mysteries of psychological manipulation and enhance national security through the development of mind control techniques, often at the expense of ethical boundaries and the rights of unwitting subjects. First, there was Project Chatter, which was initiated by the US Navy in the late 1940s. Its primary goal was to investigate the use of drugs, primarily scopolamine and mescaline, for the purpose of truth serum interrogation. While it began under the US Navy's auspices, it was later transferred to the US Army and the US Air Force. The project was relatively narrow in its focus, primarily examining the potential use of specific drugs in obtaining information from individuals. It is also notable for being the first government project in which LSD was used on human subjects. In 1950, Project Chatter transitioned into Project Bluebird, which was later renamed Project Artichoke, and broadened the scope beyond the use of drugs. The program delved into the use of hypnosis and other forms of psychological manipulation to control and alter the beliefs and behavior of subjects. Hypnosis was seen as a tool to create amnesia, enhance suggestibility, and even implant false memories. In 1953, Project Artichoke, along with other related programs, were consolidated and placed under the umbrella of the Central Intelligence Agency. This consolidation marked the birth of arguably the most famous of all of these operations, Project mkultra. Unlike its predecessors, such as Project Bluebird, mkultra had a much broader scope. Its objectives encompassed the exploration of techniques such as hypnosis, sensory deprivation, and electroconvulsive therapy. mkultra also involved extensive research into the use of psychoactive substances, such as LSD and other hallucinogens, as tools for manipulating consciousness and behavior. These drugs were administered to both willing and unwitting subjects in often covert experiments. Within the broader context of the Cold War, mkultra aimed to provide the United States with an advantage in intelligence and psychological warfare. Understanding and utilizing mind control techniques was seen as a potential strategic advantage in the global ideological and intelligence struggle. In the 1970s, the activities of mkultra came under intense public scrutiny through investigations conducted by the Church Committee in the Senate and the Rockefeller Commission. These investigations exposed the ethical and legal violations associated with the program, leading to calls for increased oversight of intelligence agency activities. As public awareness and congressional scrutiny grew, the CIA ordered the destruction of many mkultra records in 1973, under the directive of then CIA Director Richard Helms. This act, often cited as a cover-up attempt, has made it challenging to fully uncover the extent of the program's activities. Elements of mind control subtly permeate our everyday lives. From the information we absorb to the products we buy, external influences shape our thoughts and behaviors. Marketing and advertising are powerful tools for influencing consumers and driving sales. These industries employ various strategies to capture the attention of potential customers and persuade them to make purchases. Leveraging social proof, marketers demonstrate that others have used and enjoyed the product, creating a sense of trust and credibility. This can be seen in consumer reviews, testimonials, and ratings. Collaborating with social media influencers and celebrities is a modern strategy to persuade consumers. These figures often have a loyal following, and their endorsement of a product or a brand can influence their fans' purchasing decisions. Creating a sense of scarcity or urgency is a tactic to persuade consumers to act quickly. Limited time offers, flash sales, or the phrase, "while supplies last," can trigger a fear of missing out, prompting consumers to make a purchase. Concerns arise around the invasion of personal privacy and a use of these techniques to influence behavior. The ethical line between providing information and manipulating preferences can be blurry, prompting concerns about the protection of consumer autonomy. Social manipulation plays a central role in politics, as politicians and organizations strive to win over voters and advocates for specific policies. They appeal to the tried and true methods of logos by presenting logical arguments, pathos by connecting emotionally with voters, and ethos by establishing their credibility and trustworthiness. Some political strategies also capitalize on fear to persuade voters. They may emphasize potential threats or dangers to encourage support for specific policies. Additionally, polarizing issues can be used to mobilize a base and create an us versus them mentality. In politics, concerns arise when these techniques are used. Such actions can undermine the democratic process by limiting the public's access to accurate information and unbiased discourse. With the advent of big data and advanced algorithms, political campaigns can micro-target specific demographics and tailor messages to appeal to particular groups of voters. This level of personalization enhances persuasive efforts. Interrogations are a critical component of law enforcement and national security efforts to gather information, but the methods employed can sometimes cross ethical boundaries. One of the primary tactics is isolating the individual from the outside world, sometimes for extended periods, and they may be limited to interactions with interrogators only. This control of communication reinforces dependence on the interrogator's narrative. The detainee's perception of reality can be manipulated by being provided false information or misleading evidence. Interrogators may also intentionally deprive detainees of sleep, a technique that can lead to cognitive impairment, confusion, and increased vulnerability to influence. As you've probably already noticed, a lot of similarities arise when it comes to groups or people manipulating human behavior. Two of the techniques that are employed time and time again are persuasion and suggestion. By identifying when these techniques are used, we can gain insight into the psychological mechanisms that underlie decision-making and responses to external influence. Suggestion, when used for mind control, often involves subtly planting ideas or thoughts into the target's mind without their full awareness. It operates at an unconscious or semi-conscious level, making the person feel as though they are making independent decisions while being subtly guided. This technique is less forceful and typically minimizes resistance, allowing the manipulator to maintain a facade of cooperation. Suggestion can be used to alter an individual's perception of reality, making them more susceptible to accepting the manipulator's ideas and narratives. Because it works by appealing to a person's subconscious, it makes it challenging to identify the source of influence. In contrast, persuasion used for mind control is a more overt and deliberate attempt to change an individual's beliefs, attitudes, or behaviors. It involves logos, pathos and ethos to convince the person to adopt a particular viewpoint or take specific actions. Persuasion may face resistance from the target, who is aware that they are being persuaded. The manipulator might use further techniques such as deception or pressure to exert a higher degree of control over the individual's thoughts and actions, potentially making them more compliant with the manipulator's objectives. Mind control techniques, by their nature, aim to influence or shape an individual's thoughts and behavior. When these techniques are employed to the detriment of a person's autonomy and free will, ethical concerns emerge. Coercion and manipulation can diminish an individual's ability to make decisions in alignment with their true desires and values. Some mind control techniques can lead to psychological harm, particularly when used excessively. Prolonged exposure to manipulation or coercion can result in emotional distress, anxiety, depression, and even post-traumatic stress disorder. The ethical duty to do no harm is a central concern in many applications of mind control. One of the foundational principles of ethical behavior is informed consent. In all contexts, individuals must voluntarily and knowingly agree to engage in activities that may affect their thoughts, beliefs, or behaviors. This can be particularly problematic with vulnerable populations, such as children, the elderly, or individuals with cognitive impairments. These groups may have limited capacity to provide informed consent or defend themselves against manipulation. Ethical mind control, when employed for positive and constructive purposes, has the potential to bring about significant benefits to individuals and society at large. By harnessing the power of influence and persuasion in a responsible and morally sound manner, it becomes a tool for personal growth, improved decision-making, and the betterment of human relationships. Hypnotherapy is a powerful tool for stress reduction and relaxation. In a controlled and therapeutic setting, individuals are guided into a state of heightened suggestibility. While in this state, they can receive suggestions to alleviate stress, anxiety, or even manage chronic pain. Ethical hypnotherapists work with clients to identify the sources of stress, and through hypnosis, they can help individuals develop coping mechanisms and relaxation techniques. This not only leads to immediate relief, but equips individuals with tools they can use independently to manage stress in their daily lives. Cognitive behavioral therapy is a widely respected and evidence-based approach that uses cognitive psychology principles to address various mental health conditions. By helping individuals recognize and modify negative thought patterns and behaviors, CBT empowers them to manage conditions such as depression and anxiety. CBT emphasizes collaboration between therapists and clients. The principles of ethical persuasion are often harnessed to promote social causes and encourage pro-social behaviors. Advocacy for issues like environmental conservation, public health initiatives, or charitable actions employ strategies grounded in influencing human behavior for the greater good. These campaigns inform and motivate individuals to contribute positively to society. Technology plays an increasingly pivotal role, offering both innovative possibilities and new ethical dilemmas. Advancements in neuroscience, artificial intelligence, and the digital realm have provided tools that can influence and manipulate the human mind. Emerging technologies like brain-computer interfaces, which enable direct communication between the brain and external devices, have sparked discussions about their potential for mind control. While BCIs hold promise for medical applications, there are concerns about their misuse in non-consensual or coercive contexts. The digital age has brought new forms of mind control through social media, where algorithms and personalized content can shape individuals' beliefs and opinions. Concerns over the spread of misinformation and filter bubbles highlight the importance of ensuring that technology platforms respect individual autonomy and provide accurate information. The ubiquity of surveillance technologies raises concerns about the potential for constant monitoring and data collection. While this can be used for legitimate security and public safety purposes, it also prompts discussions about the ethical boundaries of surveillance and the protection of personal privacy. Technology's role in contemporary discussions about mind control is multifaceted, offering new possibilities for positive applications while raising important concerns that shouldn't be overlooked. As these discussions evolve, it is essential to navigate the challenges and potential risks associated to ensure that advancements are used for the betterment of individuals and society as a whole. Balancing innovation with ethics will be key to shaping a bright future for all of us. The ability to think critically, question, and form one's own judgments is the very bedrock of individual autonomy and democratic societies. It is in safeguarding this precious autonomy that we protect our capacity to discern fact from fiction, make informed decisions, and to shape the course of our own lives. It is the cornerstone of our humanity, offering the means to resist manipulation and to navigate a world rich with complexity. As we confront the web of influence that surrounds us, let us remember that independent thought is not merely a privilege, it is a responsibility.